What am I to do?
Welcome to Razor Branding Podcast with Jackie Russo. To learn more about how to improve your brand, visit brandrusso.com.
Y'all, this is it. We made it to the end of the day. Our last final podcast of this National Podcast Day, this marathon that we took on 20 hours ago, is finally wrapping up, and I think we're ending and finishing with a bang. I'm so excited to welcome Alyssa with the American Cancer Society, who's going to talk about American Cancer Society, obviously. She's going to talk about UL sports, football specifically, which, you know, is one of my favorite topics. And we're going to talk about what it's like to be a New Jersey transplant landing in Acadiana and that kind of adjustment. I mean, we have so much to cover. Where do you want to start?
I don't know, whatever is going to, make sure we use our time wisely so we could both get back to sleep.
I am all fine with that because you're on East Coast time right now.
I am on East Coast time. So while it's midnight for me, I know you all have been going all day long. So I've been quite impressed and I've been trying to follow along throughout the day. So it's been fun for me too.
So let's start with, well, thank you for being here. Let's start with the American Cancer Society. Let's talk about what you do, how you came to be a part of the organization, and the good works that y'all do throughout Acadiana.
Sure. So American Cancer Society, obviously, a national organization who our sole mission is to rid the world of cancer. We all know cancer doesn't discriminate, which is one cause I think we can all throw our weight behind. So for me, I am the community development manager here in Lafayette. So I am the local staff partner here in town. We run 3 local fundraising events here. We have the Black and White Gala, which is traditionally at the end of August. We have the Four-Cure Corporate Golf Classic, which in normal times would be held next week. So it's next week, October 9th. I'm out at Coasati Pines and Coshada. And then we wrap it up with our Real Men Wear Pink campaign, which technically on East Coast time has just kicked off since it's October 1st, but it's a month-long campaign for breast cancer research. So we tag some men in the community to step up and raise some funds, and we make it a little competition. So it's really fun. So that kicks off officially October 1, and we'll go through the entire month. So that's kind of what we get our hands in locally here.
So let's start all the way back with all the changes that y'all have had to go through. So Black and White Gala, that obviously couldn't happen like it normally does. So how did you pivot and adjust it to make it still work?
It was a slow but fruitful pivot, I will say. We had vacillated back and forth trying to keep tabs on, what is the government saying? What is our local government saying? What are our hearts saying? But, at the end of the day, we're a healthcare organization and we honor physicians and caregivers, and, cancer patients are immunosuppressed. So it wouldn't be fair for us to say, hey, you all come in a big room and party with us while we also honor you for beating cancer. We were like, the headlines just speak for themselves.
Right.
So we made the decision to go virtual, including our little VIP announcement party, which is traditionally held in June. So we did that via broadcast, and then we enlisted the help of our friends over at BWPR, and they helped us put on a fabulous production on the date that we would have been all together in person. But we kind of just relied a lot on, pre-recorded videos and, our relationships that we had fostered throughout the years and try to bring those to life. I know for us, it was really important that we made people feel special. So whether it was our sponsors or our honorees or our volunteer committee, I'm really just trying to go above and beyond to make people feel connected, because that's the biggest thing. And I feel like I've been hearing that, all day with all the people we've been chatting with, is just you lose that personal connection when you get to be in person and you get to share the reason why we're all coming together in the first place. So it was really important for us to make sure that, people who were involved with this event felt that even through their screen.
Right. So Real Men Wear Pink, is that going to have to go through some shifts and shapes?
Yes and no. So the cool thing about Real Men is it's all individual fundraising. So traditionally, we try to get at least 20 plus guys in our community to step up and raise money, but they can raise that money however they choose. I always tell them, as it's illegal, I don't want to know, just slide me the check and I'll put it in the bank. But other than that, so it could even be, as elementary, we always go back to like a bake sale at your office. Or I know a guy last year, he pimped out his kids for a lemonade stand. They sold pink lemonade and he did over $2,000 just in a day of having his kids sell some lemonade. So that's what's so fun about it, because you can really get so creative and do whatever you want. So there's a little less restrictions when it's not an actual ACS branded event. It's all the way up to the individual. And we're always following, what the regulations are being put down, whether locally, federally, all that fun stuff.
Right. And then the golf tournament, is that going to be able to happen?
It's not. We made the decision to postpone that for this year. We did have it originally scheduled for October 9th, and golf was the one thing we thought maybe, oh, we might be able to get away with this since it's
Right.
outdoors. But the integrity of the event was going to be so lost because we wouldn't have been able to host our program. We do an awards show. We have a program with, our honorary speaker who is traditionally a survivor who comes and kind of shares their story with the group. None of that would have been able to happen. It would be box lunches and like, hey, show up. Here's your food. Thanks for coming and see you next year. And we worked so hard to build that event up. And, I was like, you know what, guys, and, I love my golf committee because they're just old school oil guys that just love golf and they love like doing it for a good cause. And so I was like, guys, like, let's just, cut our losses this year. This is the year to be like, all right, let's regroup, come back stronger next year. So we're still doing some fund the mission gifts, which I hope I'll get into in a little bit. So instead of, your sponsorship for golf, you can still give directly to our mission to support our cancer patients. So that's an option. So we're trying to kind of work that angle. But yeah, sadly, no golf this year, but that'll give us a whole year to plan and make it better for next year.
Right. Well, and Michael just put the link up on the page to Mighty Cause for your ACS Fund the Mission, so people can donate. They can help support. I don't know anyone whose lives haven't been touched by cancer. So to be able to step up and help the effort, I think it matters to all of us.
It does. And I thank God every day for ACS for choosing me to help spread the word about our mission because it's true. Nobody has been untouched by it, whether it's, right in your inner circle or, your professional circle or your neighbor up the street, everybody goes through it, even children. We just wrapped up September, which was Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. So that's always a big push. And that's the most underfunded cancer in the nation, believe it or not. And that's due to its rarity, but it's also, it's very deadly. So we're trying our best to try and find a cure and, raise as much money as possible to fund that.
Right. So I would imagine donations are down this year with all of these events having to either be canceled, rescheduled, adjust. And so what are y'all doing to fill the gaps? I mean, are you okay?
We are trying everything and anything. It's bleak right now and it's not looking great. For the first time in ACS's history, we're looking at the chance of having to reduce funding by about 50% for cancer research, which is a gut punch because, we work all year long to try and make sure that, we're able to fundraise for, all the programs and initiatives that we have, not just nationwide, but also here locally in Acadiana. So through our Fund the Mission initiative, one of our most local impacts we have is patient access to care through transportation grants. So our local cancer centers here in town can apply for a grant and they're awarded dollars based on how much money we do locally. So in 2019 with funds this year, we were able to award Lafayette General $15,000 to help get their patients to and from treatment. And so that was with money we raised in 2019. So this year looks a little different. We're hoping to be able to open up that pot and, see how much money that we can be able to disperse throughout our cancer centers. Because that's the thing. I mean, we live in our little city bubble, our Lafayette city, but there's a ton of, rural areas right outside of us. Like you would be so surprised how many people skip going to treatment because they can't get there. And that just breaks my heart. And that's something that, I would never even thought about because, lucky we have a support system, if God forbid, we needed to do that, but there's plenty of people who don't. So programs like that are, really being threatened right now. So we're trying to do our best. And the best thing I heard throughout this whole process is somebody had told us that, fundraising isn't all we do, but all we do depends on it. And so
yeah.
I was like, that really hits home because for the longest time, especially when the pandemic first started, none of us really wanted to. Myself, my committee, we were kind of like, how do we ask these businesses for money? They're shuttering their doors. Some people are not recovering from that. Even folks on our committee, were losing their jobs and unable to continue volunteering and, family first. So it was hard for those first few months. We really kind of took a back seat and really reevaluated our plan. And for us too, it was more of just like, hey, this is our mission. This is what we're doing. We'd love for you to be a part of it. And our pitch too was, people are going to remember what your company did during this time. So if your company stepped up and they kind of helped out, because, our gala too, especially, it's our biggest event we host. Usually about 450 people attend that event. And so we were so excited for this year because we had moved to a bigger space. We were like ready to blow it out of the water. Like 2020 is our year. We finally got the band we've been wanting. We've been trying to get 337 for like ever. Finally got them. And then this whole thing, just totally out the window. So it was hard, because we had to swallow that pill too, because we so wanted to put that event on, for our community. But it really made us change the way we think. I mean, we just totally 180 the way we kind of just see how we treat our donors and our supporters. And I think that was actually a really good wake up call for us. So it's been neat to see that.
You know, the number of people that rolled into January thinking 2020 is our year, it is astonishing to me. And so we've all gotten a little gut punch. And so it's amazing to me to hear how y'all have been able to pivot and recover and move on and still find ways to fulfill the mission. I mean, I think it's just so important.
It is, and we got really creative. We relied a lot on our silent auction. We did an online auction, which did about $13,000, which was really great. And so, again, not the numbers we're seeing when we're in person, but I feel like we all had to remind ourselves this is not a normal year. Like, you can't compare it to any other year. So, we're still raising money, through the December 31st. That could be towards our gala event. Right now, we're about a little more than $96,000 that we raised through that event. So, we're really proud of that, just because everyone worked their tail off to make sure it happened. And we had the buy-in. And so I'm hoping, when we come ask it again next year, everyone's like, oh yeah, like that would be great. Like, we want to be in person, because it's also a good networking opportunity for these businesses and, individuals who are interested. And we also have really great honorees. And, on one hand, it's kind of sad that we have so many honorees that have a connection to cancer that we can, go out and highlight their stories. But on the same side, those stories need to be heard. So
Right. One of my
yeah.
coworkers, Kristen Franks, worked for ACS up in Sinla, and so she tells great stories about the rewarding work that she got to do up there.
Oh, she's awesome. And Kristen was actually the first Relay for Life event I've ever been to in my entire life. So
Really?
I feel like, obviously everyone kind of knows ACS. We're lucky to have that national brand recognition, but work on, our local levels here. But in all I really knew about ACS before I started working here was kind of Relay for Life, and I had never been. And so I started working here. It was probably like my first year on the job. And Kristen's like, hey, I need some help. Like, do you want to come out to Alexandria? And I was like, yeah, okay, like never been there. Sure, I'll come see another, new city in my new state. And so we hopped over there and we had a great time. And she's so fabulous. So you guys got a real winner. She's awesome.
Thanks. We think so too. We're very, very lucky. So let's talk about your visit to your new state. So you're Yankee, New
I
Jersey born
am
and bred.
New Jersey born and bred my
Okay.
entire life. I left briefly to go to college in the Midwest, which
Okay.
is actually where I met my fiance Patrick. So I met him at Mizzou, so the University of Missouri. So I was undergrad there, and then I started working for the athletic department. So that's how we crossed paths. And then after my stint there, I was like, okay, going home. Like, thanks guys, this was a great pit stop, but I'm going back home. And then I spent about 3 more years back on the East Coast, and then landed here in Lafayette.
So some random dude named Patrick says, I'm moving to Louisiana, and you're like, yeah, I'm in.
Yes and no. Basically, that's the short version. The short version is like, yeah, I guess if this is going to be a thing, I'll move down to the South. But my
Sure.
thing was too, it's like, a lot of people don't get that chance to live so many different places across the country. And so we're young, and I was like, this will be fun. We love it. And we haven't looked back since we've been down. And I have to say, between, what he does for a living and what I do, we've just been able to meet so many people. And that's been so awesome because, no one tells you how hard it is to make friends as an adult.
Right.
It's difficult.
It's very difficult.
I'm like, you can't just like walk up to someone and be like, hey, you want to be friends? They would like look at you like you had 10 heads. So it was really cool for us to be able to kind of immerse ourselves in the community and the culture right away. And they just embraced us like family. And so it's been a lot of fun for us.
That is awesome. You know, I moved to Los Angeles as an adult, and it is really hard to make friends in a town where you didn't go to school
Yes,
because
it is.
everybody went to school with somebody.
Right. Or they know somebody who knows somebody, or they grew up together,
Right.
or, whatever. And Lafayette's a small town, I think a lot of people do. Everyone's related somehow. So I'm learning slowly how to dig through all of that. But, it is. And again, I was kind of surprised because I know everyone's like, oh, the South is so nice and blah, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, but like, I don't want to come down here. And they're thinking like, who's this chick from New Jersey that just thinks she's going to come down here and like, rule ACS for us. And I was like, we'll try, but it's been really fun. And I have an awesome volunteer community that we work with. Basically we're all volunteer led. They need their handler. I basically just say, yeah, this is legal. No, this is not. I'll sign the contract. Like, this is good. So they really do run everything. And for all 3 of our events. So it's really, really awesome to kind of just let them do their thing. And, these are people that are our colleagues and our friends in the community that are stepping up for a really great cause. So I would be remiss if I didn't shout out my people.
No, that's awesome. And what a great
Right.
way to introduce yourself into the community is by doing such great work and getting to work with people who have that similar cause in their heart. It's like a match made in heaven.
It is, and it's so fun. And we have a Coaches vs. Cancer platform, which is how we kind of loop in our athletic department. So that was really marrying, my passion and love for sports, and then also what I get to do professionally. So back in March, and I'm so glad this got off the ground before COVID kind of really hit us hard. We were able to do a Coaches vs. Cancer game. We did a Give Me Five whiteout game with the men's basketball team. So I worked with Coach Marlon's wife, Jenny, on that, which we kind of tag teamed, and we raised over $9,000 for pediatric cancer research. Actually, that's where that money went this year. So the team wore white, as they do at home always. And then, we had fans all dressed in white. Lords came in and gave out some palms, and we just tried to raise some money for a good cause. And it was really fun. And, it was the first time I ever had done something with Coaches vs. Cancer, but I was like, anytime I can marry athletics and what I do for a living, I'm like, sign me up. So it actually
Absolutely.
happened like right March, I think. And then I think that might have been like one of the last basketball games I went to before our season sadly got cut short. But so I have fond memories up until that point.
Basketball, baseball, there's a whole lot of stuff that got cut. Softball, everything got cut short, it feels like.
Oh, it is. And you just feel so bad for the student athletes because, that's a lot of the reasons why they come to school here, obviously to get an education, but, they want to play their sport and, master their craft. And so you feel for them the most, us old people, we got our college days out of our way. So, we've been there, done that. So I just feel so bad for the kids now that are having to have such a different experience while in school.
I will forever appreciate that you just lumped me into a category with you as you called us old people, because I am quite certain that I am significantly older, but I loved it. Just for a second, I loved it.
Oh,
I felt
girl,
so cool.
please. And I mean, it's late. I don't
It
see
is
anyone else
late.
hanging out with us at this hour. So,
Fact. That is fact. If
that's
they are,
God.
they need to go to your Mighty Cause page and donate because obviously y'all are doing great work and you need the funds to keep going. And so
We do.
that address is in the comments. People can click right through. It's on the screen. And so it's all about Mighty Cause, ACS Fund the Mission. So you arrive in Lafayette, never having visited Louisiana before. What were your first experiences?
Okay, let's see. I got down in November, so the
Okay.
weather was fabulous.
Sure.
Thanksgiving, I wore a dress with my legs out. I was like, this is so rare. This is so beautiful and nice. It was amazing. And then actually, like my first week we came down, the football team headed up to Monroe to go play ULM. So again, I feel like I checked off probably 5 or 6 cities in Louisiana within my first 2 weeks. We previously had an office in Lake Charles prior to Hurricane Laura. We actually got some pictures back finally today of what our office space is looking like. And sadly, it's not looking great. I don't know if you've seen the photos of the big Capital One building. That's where our offices were. And so we were hoping there was going to be something salvageable there, and it's not looking great. So prior to that, I had been in Lake Charles. I had been in Alexandria. I had a trip to Natchitoches, which was a lot of fun. I now know how to pronounce it. It's not Natchitoches, which
It
is
is
what
not.
I had originally thought. So I had a lot of stops in like my first 2 weeks here, and I was like, okay, like I'm done now. I've seen everything I need to see. The only place I haven't been to yet is Shreveport. One of these days, we have an office up there, so one of these days I'll have to go visit my colleague Ro and say
It's
hello.
just a part of Texas. You're not missing anything.
Perfect. All right, I'm gonna check it off my list because I've done
Yes.
Texas too.
Yes.
So it was a whirlwind like first few weeks, and I feel like then the holidays kind of came, so things kind of slowed back down. And then, really just hit the ground running once I got back into town. Every February, we host a leadership breakfast over at the Petroleum Club, and that's a free event that we open to the public to kind of come and just basically look what we're doing now is, our committee gets up and they each talk about our events we host in the community, how you can get involved. If you're interested in being on a committee, that's how you do that. Kind of like an open house type situation. But it's kind of hard being the national brand who works on the local level because we have so many amazing local, and they want to know that their dollars are supporting local. And trust me, I get that. I mean, you have to do your research, especially if, you're willing to part with dollars, especially during a global pandemic where dollars are hard to come by. It's important to know where your money's going. And so, as a national organization, I can't sit here and be like, oh yeah, 100% of your donation for Fund the Mission. I can. Fund the Mission donations are 100% tax deductible, which is awesome. But traditionally, there's a small thing, but we're very proud that we have one of the lowest percentages that go to overhead costs out of the major nonprofits across the nation. So we're about 3% of that goes to
Wow.
overhead, which is
That is
awesome.
nothing.
So we're very proud of that because sometimes it's really high. And, when you're on the business side of things, you're like, yeah, I get it. But when you're on the bleeding heart like I am, and you're like, but I want to make sure my money actually helps, wherever it's going. So we're really proud of that. And we're just really proud to be in Lafayette. I couldn't have thought of a better place to have landed.
Right. No, and we're so glad to have you here. And the work that you do is so vital and important. I think that, and we talked about it earlier, with the amount of people who have been touched personally and directly, or just one step removed by cancer, it really does seem to permeate all walks of life, all facets, all ages, all socioeconomic backgrounds. It doesn't discriminate at all. And
It
so
doesn't.
the work y'all are doing to help people out, I think it's just so vital.
Oh, thank you. And I feel like for us, even if we feel like we can help as small part as we can, whatever we can do to make a difference. And, we're in the land of temptation down here. It's tough. There's a lot of good food. There's a lot of, external environmental factors that contribute to, why Louisiana especially has a higher cancer rate than, other states. Like, I could always throw Montana in there, but they're kind of just out in their own world. People I think even forget they're here, in the US. But, we're in a hot spot down here for, some different kinds of things. So it's just really important for us to try to make sure, we are able to take care of our people.
Right, absolutely. And so, looking forward to next year, assuming that 2021 is some sense of normalcy, maybe, please, hopefully. How do you get all your events back online? I mean, have you already started looking at dates, or is it a wait and see kind of situation?
So we do have a date booked down for our gala. So we figured August 21st, 2021, over at the Doubletree on Pinhook is kind of where we're setting our sights. They were supposed to be our host for 2020. So we'll kind of went over to them, and the team over there has been fabulous. And I know
Jimmy
they've
and
seen
Jenny
it.
are awesome.
Oh, they're amazing. We were so
Right.
excited to work with them. Prior we were on at the Student Union, who was also fabulous,
Sure.
but unfortunately we just kind of grew out of that space. So good and bad things. It's a good thing that we're growing. It's bad that we have to leave our home where we've been having so much fun for the past few years. And Chico and them over there are just really awesome. And so they were fabulous. But I'm like, I'm sorry guys, we have to leave you. So Doubletree is going to be great. So we're hoping for that August 21st, 2021. Again, golf, I'm not too sure our dates yet. Traditionally, that is held October 2021 or October fall. And then Real Men Wear Pink is always going to be in October. So we actually held our reveal party this evening. I think it was 6:30 on our Facebook page, and we did it digitally. Usually we get together in person, and it's an open bar, and we have a band, and we just roll out these guys to the community, and it's kind of their time to shine and bring their family and their cheerleaders with them. So again, this year we kind of had to flip the script, and we kind of just had them send in videos to introduce themselves. Jay Walker is one of our real men this year, so we're pumped to have him. And he was,
He's so great.
he was amazing. And, and talking to Jay, I didn't realize that he had such a personal connection to cancer. His mother passed away when he was 16 from breast cancer. And I didn't realize that when I asked him. I just asked him because I was like, Jay knows everybody and he'll do it. Like, we'll have fun. And he's like, I'm so glad you asked. So those are the moments that you're just like, as stressful as this time has been, like, you're just like, oh my God, like, I love what I do. I'm so glad to give somebody that platform to be able to support in the way that they can. And so we're super pumped for him to be on board. And we got a great group of guys this year, so it should be a lot of fun.
Who are some of the other guys?
So we have Dr. Derek Hines. He's over at Acadiana Pain and Performance and Rehab. We have Don Hargroder Jr., who's over at Courtesy Automotive Group, who's killing it right now. We also have Andrew Ashby. He's over at Lord's Physician Group. He handles the practice over there. So he sees a lot of breast cancer patients come in and out of their doors every day. So this is kind of a no-brainer for him to kind of come and be involved. Lawrence Sims with the Medicist is coming on board. Tim Gaspard with BWPR. Just a really good rounded group of guys. We have about 15 of them right now. Still recruiting. So if anybody's out there listening or catches this tomorrow, love to have you on board. You just have to wear pink every day in October, do a little fundraising for us, and help us find a cure for breast cancer.
I mean, what an easy way for people to step up and help out such an important cause. And what guy doesn't want to wear pink every day and have an excuse? And
Right.
the fundraising part, I mean, that's the most fun.
It is. And, like, I feel like we have enough tools in our toolbox to help you out because asking for money isn't everybody's cup of tea. Most of the time, I don't even like doing it. And it's what we're here to do, as a job. But you really have to kind of humble yourself and, realize this is why we're doing it. There's a reason we're out here asking for this money and helping to fund the cure. So it's a big deal. And Facebook and the way they have all the tools set up these days, like you can connect your fundraiser to Facebook and it really just takes off. Right. And I feel like as soon as those guys raise like that first $50, they're like, oh, that was easy. Because, getting guys to do anything, it's like, come on, you guys. But they're so fun to work with. And once you get them hooked, they really do wear it all out. They wear it all out on their sleeve. They love wearing the pink. And so it's a lot of fun. So this will be our second year going into that campaign. Last year was our first ever campaign. We did it with 19 guys. We raised over $80,000, which was mind blowing, but it's actually not, because Acadiana is so generous. So I don't know why I was so surprised that we did so well. And these guys are just so creative. So I feel like they're just getting more and more creative. So Jay's rolling out a fundraiser this year. He's doing 36 for 36 and 36. So he's asking for $36 donations in memory of Coach RUSSO, who we obviously all love and miss. And so for 36 days. So technically October is 31 days. So we'll be kind of going a couple of days past that, but we couldn't pass up the opportunity to do that for Coach Robe. And then another one of our guys is doing a 24 and 24. So it's a 24 miles in 24 hours. So similar to your 24-hour setup, he's going to be running 24 miles, and he's putting teams together to run a combined 24. So just really cool ideas that I didn't even have to think of.
Right. What great ideas. And, I think that when I look at the creativity, I see just a hint of competition as well. And so I think that's part of what drives these guys is, who doesn't want to be the best in terms of raising the most money? I love that, because that's going to spur them on, and you're going to see that 80,000 in your rearview mirror. I think they'll be rounding 100 this year.
Oh, I hope so. That's the plan. That's the goal. And that's kind of how this competition started. It started as a real grassroots effort out in Tennessee, I believe. And it just blew up from there, because these guys were like really getting into the competition part of it. And on our website, they each have their personal profiles, and they move based on how much money you raise. So if somebody starts raising more money than you, you'll get bumped down a spot and they'll move right up. So it's fun to watch the tiles kind of move around. And I'm telling you, you get an email every time someone donates. So it's kind of like fun, like go and check and be like, oh, I did so well. Like it's easy. And again, people are so generous. So we're very lucky to be where we are.
Right. No, that's awesome. One of my previous coworkers got involved in participating in triathlons for Leukemia Foundation. And awesome. So I watched her be able to string together a bunch of donations through that. And you're right, the online tools just make it so simple.
They do. And that's the way of the future. I feel like that's really where we're headed, kind of this leaderboard platform, if you will. So it'd be cool to see how that evolves, the more we see ourselves going more virtual.
Right, absolutely. I think that when I think about all that you do, and people misunderstanding, thinking you're the national organization, period, and not realizing you're this local branch, I'm glad that you're here on the ground, boots in the community, to really let them know that it's all about the local effort. I have to acknowledge right now Michelle Ezell, who's still up, which I'm impressed, because she was up for our first one and throughout the day, and she thinks that we should run 24 miles because she admires that guy's focus. I will cheer her on as she does it. I think that you should challenge a whole set of girls to follow in the boys' footsteps. But I think this is my 24-hour process right here today, and I'm hanging up my 24-hour shoes after that.
Oh man, you don't want to see me run 24. You don't want to see me run 1 mile, Michelle.
Right.
I promise you.
Right.
But Derek can use all the support he can. So if you're interested in participating in that, you can check out our Facebook page. It's RMWP Acadiana. We have it set up as an event. So I know his office is doing some raffles as well to enter. So again, it's just so fun, because like these guys get their offices involved, they get their wives involved, their kids, and it really just becomes like a really big community effort without really doing too much effort or too much work.
I love that. I mean, that is amazing. So what did I forget to ask? What should we talk about that we didn't get to yet?
Oh man, I'm trying to think what else.
We covered your events. We covered RCAF. We covered your Yankee roots, which I'm following some dude named Patrick.
Yeah, just following that guy Patrick down here. No, he flipped my whole world upside down, and it's been so much fun, and we love it. And I mean, honestly, I get to spend my weekends at Cajun Field, so I mean, I'm not complaining about that. So
absolutely,
I get to be there and cheer them on.
Now, I don't think I'm divulging anything too personal, I hope, but you are currently picking wedding venue spots. Is that correct?
We are. So we are like half of a 2020 pandemic wedding couple, I guess you could say, because we weren't planning a wedding that had to get moved or anything. We did get engaged in July, which was really exciting, and thank you. It's been really fun. Just trying to figure everything out. We kind of ignored the fact that we were engaged for like a month. We're like, oh, we're just like not going to think about any like wedding things, and we're just going to like get football off the ground. That was really the biggest thing. It's like we have to get football off the ground, and hopefully that we are able to play. And luckily we've been awesome. I can't say enough to the team over there. They've just been doing amazing things between sports med and the football team and the administration. I mean, just keeping everybody safe. So themselves, their players, our fans, been doing great work. So when we had some time off for this next game that's in midweek, we were kind of like jumping on the chance of like, okay, this is it. We're going back to New Jersey, which is obviously where I'm from originally, to where we're going to have the wedding. So we'll see what happens. There's not a whole lot of 2021 dates left. So it'll be a long engagement.
And then from there, will you fly straight to App State to catch the game next week?
So I'm actually going to stay an extra week here to just wrap up some extra stuff. But Patrick will be flying back this weekend, so he can head out there with the team. So
Good.
Yeah, so he had to go back. And then now, they just have to change the whole way they're thinking because they have to take X amount of COVID tests before they can even get on the plane.
Right.
So he had to make sure he was back in town in time to get the first of those 3 tests that they have to take before they leave on Wednesday or even Tuesday. I guess Tuesday, the game's on Wednesday. So
right. The precautions that they're taking right now are just mind-blowing.
It's crazy. And we even closed our office permanently that we had in Lafayette. So we did have an office space. It was myself, we had a coordinator, and then another gal who kind of works on our primary care side. And they ended up closing our office permanently.
Hold on, I'm being interrupted live online.
Sorry, Alyssa!
So, Alyssa,
this is so fun.
I think this is how we are officially celebrating the end of our 24-hour podcast marathon.
Podcast marathon queen!
I mean, there's a whole
God,
crown and everything.
Presence of royalty. I feel so flattered.
There we are.
I mean,
She did it!
there's an entire cape happening right now.
Did it!
It looks amazing.
Alyssa, you're the bomb for sticking around to the end.
And she's on East Coast time. It's midnight for
Oh
her.
my, can we make it there and do some confetti in her
Please.
office too?
Please,
Sure.
I'll keep my garage open.
Jackie.
Come on in.
We're heading to New Jersey. Let's go.
We are very
Open
proud
door.
of you.
Thank you, Alyssa. I appreciate your time. Thank you to American Cancer
She
Society.
can go. Let her go.
Thank you so much.
Y'all. You take
I'll see you when
care.
you get back to Lafayette.
Yes, ma'am. You got it.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.